Hello and welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I am Ifoma Ojinta. Preparatory to the planned resumption of operations of the Abuja mass rail transit system, senior officials of the FCT administration have interfaced with the Chinese firm handling the project at the Operation Control Center of the rail system in Idu, Abuja. Onoze Yakubu was there for NTA News.
The meeting with the relevant stakeholders is to chart a way of ensuring the resumption of operations of the Abuja mass rail transit system within the shortest possible time. This is coming against the backdrop of government's substantial investment in the light rail project. The project was test run shortly after it was inaugurated by President Muhammadu Buhari in July 2018, but forced to suspend operations with the emergence of COVID-19 pandemic.
COVID is over. We are desirous to resume operations, but there are certain issues that were not intended at risk, which will require attention. This is the purpose of coming here today, to look at the projects in its entirety, to know actions to be taken within the shortest possible time in order to restore the Abuja mass rail transit system back into operations.
On securing the project, the FCTA Permanent Secretary reveals that measures have been put in place to ensure the project is adequately safeguarded.
In preparation for the resumption of operations, we have engaged security along the entire length of the Abuja rail mass transit system. So, this is just in addition to the security that we provided on board and by other government agencies. So for the security of Abuja rail mass transit, it is guaranteed.
Stakeholders believe that when operational, FCT residents will have yet another opportunity of enjoying an eco-friendly transport system. Onoze Yakubu, NTA News.
A diplomatic conflict between Nigeria and the Republic of China has been mitigated with NNPC Limited sealing of assets transfer agreements with Adas Petroleum and Exploration, while Group Chief Executive Officer NNPC Limited, Mele Kyari, applauds President Muhammadu Buhari for his leadership in resolving the issue amicably. Lydia Sampson reports that this is the first time assets are returned by contractors to concessionaire. A series of engagements led the way to the seamless process that has culminated to the signing of the Adas Petroleum exit. This means NNPC Limited now owns OMLs 123, 124, 126 and 137, a very significant agreement based on mutually acceptable terms. It was done in compliance with President Muhammadu Buhari's admonition for a peaceful exercise.
Definitely this collaboration resulted in where we are today, and we will make progress, we will stop production.
We committed to working assiduously with the ADAX team to ensure Mr. President's directive have been executed amicably in a clean and speedy manner.
What we have done here, history has been made.
Signing of the asset transfer agreement with Adas Petroleum Company heralded the end of the commercial disputes on the company's assets. A hybrid event, the NNPC Board Chairman Maju Okadibo and Group Chief Executive Officer Mele Kyari attended the agreement signing virtually. The NNPC Limited Chief Financial Officer signed the agreement on behalf of NNPC Limited. The Adas Managing Director signed for his company.
No doubt, this exit agreement today will help both commercial and diplomatic relations for the two nations. We took all necessary steps to ensure clean, amicable, and speedy exit.
Key players are optimistic the agreement is to unlock 10,000 barrels per day oil production.
In our own capacity, we will do our best to support the new agreement as required by the law.
The historic event is projected to strengthen diplomatic and commercial relations between Nigeria and China. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News. Nigeria is resolved to hold international oil companies and industry operations accountable for massive environmental pollution in the country. NTA Fine Face reports.
Unprecedented challenges of pollution, climate change and biodiversity loss has informed the review of environmental regulations in Nigeria. Through these reviews, the federal government hopes to tackle deforestation, wildlife crimes and industry-related pollution, especially by oil and gas companies.
Government is set to institute an environmental task force, especially on oil pollution, and will monitor, track, evaluate, and sanction these erring IOCs and their local collaborators. The flagrant abuse of our coastlines, mangroves, natural habitats in the guise of prospecting or exploitation of oil resources must be checked.
The reviews are expected to guide enforcement of regulations to curb ecosystem degradation from mining, air, water, noise, and marine pollution.
We have much work ahead of us to control and manage the depletion of the environmental resources. It is a work we must collectively do to improve human well-being, safeguard the integrity of the environment, and provide prosperity for all.
The Nigeria Environmental Standards and Regulations Enforcement Agency will also be better equipped to enforce sanctions on polluters when the reviews are implemented. NTA Fine Face, NTA News.
The 7th General Assembly of the African Tax Administration is ongoing in Lagos, Nigeria. The assembly, which consists of different African countries, seeks to rethink different revenue strategies that tax administration could use in concretizing their position in domestic revenue mobilization for sustainable development. The 7th General Assembly has the theme, Rethinking Revenue Strategy, the Human Face of Taxation. Now, the Joint National Assembly Committee on Agriculture is asking the Minister of Agriculture to provide specific action plans that will mitigate imminent food shortage in the country. National Assembly correspondent Dayo Gunshola reports that this was when the minister faced the committee to defend 2023 budget proposal of the ministry.
The two Ministers of Agriculture and Rural Development, heads of agencies under the direct supervision of the ministry, appeared before the Joint National Assembly Committee on Agriculture. After providing insights into the 2022 performance and the proposals for the next fiscal year, the planned program of action to mitigate the catastrophic climatic condition in the country became the major concern.
We want to ask the minister to give us the status analysis of those people that were affected by the floods in which the agricultural inputs and the rice other things were destroyed. The issue of food security should be the #1 priority that the Ministry of Agriculture should be dealing with. Area is supposed to be Africa. I believe that is unveiling plans and development plans raised by this current government.
The ministry is not unmindful of the impact of the ravaging flood.
We are already assessing the situation. How much farmland has been flooded? How much crops, whether rice or maize or whatever it is, has been damaged. The main concern about food scarcity in the coming months, we will not allow that to happen.
We have noted areas where our members have raised concerns, and we will engage the ministry to make sure that the specific areas where these projects are being executed are provided.
The Joint Committee, however, demanded for more specific details of the planned program of action. From the National Assembly, Dayo Gunshola, NTA News.
Time now to join our Lagos Network Center, and Adeola is standing by with the next sets of reports.
Unhappy about grim statistics of road crashes that is far below the UN Decade of Action Plan of 50% reduction, the Federal Road Safety Corps is enlisting the support of key stakeholders towards addressing human factors in road accidents. This advocacy is part of messages at the flag off of this year's Ember Months Safety Campaign held in Ikorodu, Lagos. Adeniyi Taiwo reports.
The theme for this year's Ember Month Safety Campaign, Avoid Speeding, Overloading, Unsafe Tires to Arrive Alive, broadly captures many of the human factors of road traffic crashes. Statistics show that 74 deaths and 232 injured were recorded on Lagos roads in the second quarter of this year. A picture the Zonal Corps Commander of the FRSC Sector 2, Peter Kibo, considers too grim. At the ceremony to flag off this year's Ember Month Safety Campaign, the Zonal Corps Commander, represented by Lagos State Sector Commander Olusegun Ogunbemide, says lack of discipline among road users will be better addressed with the involvement of all.
The passengers, the commuters have a role to play. They might not be seated here, but as we are seated here, our men are speaking to them in the various parks and in the various vehicles. Don't leave the issue of safety to the drivers alone.
So, to better deliver on the theme for this year, the FRSC is towing the path of building solidarity by partnering with key stakeholders who in turn are using advocacy to drive home the message.
It is the responsibility of the chairman of the park to ensure that all their drivers have driving licenses.
While performing the flag off, the Ayogbune of Ikorodu, Oba Kabir Adewale Shotobi, who was represented by his Agbakin High Chief Ayodele Lesho, was emphatic that accidents are often man-made and don't just happen. As part of the flag off, there were free medical checks and donation of eyeglasses at the event to highlight the nexus between good health, particularly clear eyesight, and road safety. In Lagos, Adeniyi Taiwo, NTA News.
From the north to the south, east to west, the story is the same. Flood, taking over homes and affecting economic activities of the people. Annie Daniels in this report takes a look at why this has persisted and the way out.
2 weeks, flooding has continued to ravage the nation, entire communities under and rendering hundreds homeless. For instance, Kogi, Delta, Edo, Bayelsa and River states are among states that are yet to recover from the flood that ravaged their communities.
It's a thing that is unimaginable for us right now, but what we're thinking about is the safety and how my people can at least see food and water to drink, just to be alive, and mattresses for them to sleep because they are in the camps, and most of them are lying on the floor.
The narrative is not different in Lagos State, where residents are still counting their losses.
The flood started by August. I think we use 3 months before we go.
To cook na wala, to eat na wala. Na keno they use. All the people where they live ugly to na keno they use.
We are on the move now to mitigate the effect in case if we have this another of such occurrence.
Like in previous years, NIMET had asked those living in flood-prone areas to relocate because of the impending flood.
Those people that they are living in that Makoko, if they have the money to go to Lekki, they will go.
The raging flood, according to these respondents, is a work of fate and can be contained by discouraging deforestation, as well as other human activities that give rise to flooding.
Listening to daily weather forecast. Secondly, your drainage in front of your house, clear it. Even if the government is not aware, clear it.
In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
That's a bit from Lagos. Suleiman in Kaduna will have the next set of stories, but do not forget that you can join this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other verified social media handles displayed on the screen. Just stay with us.
You are there in our Lagos Network Center. Welcome to Kaduna Network Center. President Muhammadu Buhari's commitment to revive the ailing Kaduna Refining and Petrochemical Company through the quick fix agreement with South Korean company has been described as genuine desire to revamp the nation's energy sector and address problems of fuel supply chain in the north. key players in the oil and gas industry in Kaduna while reacting to an agreement between the Nigerian National Petroleum Company and South Korean firm for the resource station of Kaduna Refining and Petrochemical Company said it will reopen the window of economic opportunities to many people. Haruna Muhammad reports.
With its turning capacity of 110,000 barrels per day, Kaduna Refining and Petrochemical Company is currently operating at zero level as it no longer refines a single barrel of petroleum products. This has crippled activities around the petroleum plant. Before current situation of affairs, the company refine and supply petroleum products, especially petroleum motor spirit, to northern part of the country, which reduce pressure on importation.
Today, when the 3 or 4 refineries in operation, we believe more than half the products that we've been importing are out of the question.
Lack of it has caused a lot of problems in terms of supply, in terms of scarcity, in terms of hardship, strangulation of the economic activities in the north.
Addressing this is key to the current administration as President Muhammad Buhari facilitated the agreement between NNPC and Daewoo South Korean Engineering Company.
We also hope that when the administrations are completed, we have new refineries. The Kaduna refinery can operate for 100 years, and we have just done about 44.
Stating Kadu KRPC refinery is a welcome development or long overdue, I will say, because with the working of KRPC, it will bring life to the whole north and reduce burden to the federal government of importing fuel.
Expectations are high among key players in the oil and gas sector whose livelihood revolve around Kaduna Refining and Petrochemical Company to commence operation. Haruna Mohammed, NTA News.
Have been advised to seek for both Islamic and Western knowledge as education is vital towards achieving positive societal growth and development. This is the submission of Islamic scholars at a conference organized by the Union of African Muslim Scholars held in Dutse, Jigawa State capital. Ibrahim Bello tells us more.
Union of African Scholars is an organization whose mission is on Islamic da'wah across African countries. This year's lecture in Dutse, Jigawa State focuses on the Islamic perspective of global technology. The scholars dwelt on how globalization brings socio-economic development and religious aspect of life, while it also has negative effects. Speakers harp on the Islamic perspective of technology, culture and trade, among others.
The ulamas, that is the learned scholars, I am talking particularly to the Muslim scholars, should take a great role in educating people through various means or fora.
The Prophet is saying, Al-Hikmah Dalatul Mu'min. That is, the wisdom is something lost for the Muslim. Wherever he finds it, he will just make use of it. So anything that is good and beneficial to the mankind in general, and in particular the Muslim Ummah, all Muslims are enjoying to make use of them. And whatever is against the Islamic teaching, any Muslim is prohibited from taking it.
They specifically advise youth to make positive use of globalization development as well as utilize their time according to teachings of Islam. From Dutse, Ibrahim Bello, NTA News.
That report is back to our Abuja studio for more on Nationwide.
Thank you very much, Suleiman. We now turn our attention to security matters. 10 dead bodies have been discovered in Ibilu, Akoko Edo local government area of Edo State. The bodies, which are yet to be identified, were discovered this morning. Ogochukwuka Ona reports that the cause of their death is yet unknown.
Residents of the area woke up this Tuesday to see the bodies of these young people littered around the Ibilu-Lampese boundary. The spokesperson for primary community, Victor Arogoyo, who confirmed the incident in a telephone interview with correspondent Victor Dio Archer in Ozare, narrates how they were found.
At about 7:30 or so, on both sides of the road, a place they call Isia, after the Libra restaurant on your way to Lampese. After the Libra restaurant where they call Isia, that's where we found the 10 bodies. The DPO now came. The bodies have been evacuated to General Hospital. hospital mortuary in Ibilo, here in Akoko Edo.
Okay, was it as a result of accident or what could have led to that?
No, what we are calculating, what we call conspiracy theory, we're thinking that perhaps they must have been murdered somewhere and they brought them here.
Oh.
They were murdered somewhere and they dropped them in the bush. If it was an accident, there would have been a vehicle. You understand? And they were littered in the bush, not one side, on both sides of the road, different spots. You understand? Maybe they would just carry it and throw away. You know, that's what we discover.
Okay.
So it's not, and from what we also observed, there was no gunshot.
Okay.
None of them had gunshots in his body. It could be a case of a murder through maybe poison or something, whichever way. So.
Okay.
And but one thing that's clear, they look haggard, they look dirty. In fact, one of them has this mark of handcuff for a very long time. Somebody like a serial criminal who is always so that's that.
At the time of filing this report, the State Police Public Relations Officer said the State Command is here to be properly briefed on the matter. In Benin, Ogochkuka Ona, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the need for security agencies and governments at all levels to harness the full potentials of citizens and the over 10 million private security agencies across Nigeria in the area of intelligence gathering has been emphasized. This was part of suggestions made by guests on Good Morning Nigeria while analyzing strategies to combat insecurity in Nigeria. Thomas Obetere reports.
The recent security alert by some countries and the warning of their citizens to avoid traveling to Nigeria as a result of plans by enemies of the state to launch a terror attack on the Federal Capital Territory has been a thing of concern to government and the citizens of Nigeria. As a result, President Buhari subsequently summoned an emergency security meeting to further review and strengthen the security network in the country. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria, however, noted that there would have been better ways for such countries to share intelligence with the Nigerian government rather than make the information public, thereby creating unnecessary panic in the public domain.
It could have been a misinterpretation of an intelligence feat that led to that terror alert. Again, I go back to established protocols within the diplomatic cycles. There are ways to have shared that intelligence with the Nigerian security agencies. As an example, we're at the risk of being a little bit too open. The National Intelligence Agency has established platforms for liaison sharing, intelligence liaison sharing between them and the United States and with the UK. So that's one avenue.
Guests, however, assured Nigerians that there is no cause for alarm, as all security agencies across board are working round the clock to ensure the safety of lives and property across Nigeria and the FCT.
Several security forces are established constitutionally to carry out different aspects of security for the nation. And like you alluded to, in the northeast, where we have Operation Hadinkai, we are almost achieving the end state. And which is the end state? Is that state of affairs where people can rightly live their dreams.
Nevertheless, guests are also of the opinion that citizens must be more active in intelligence gathering as part of their civic responsibility, noting that the role of government, the passion of citizens, the capacity and strategy of security agencies are key in the fight against insecurity. In Abuja, Thomas Ogbetere, NTA News.
And security agencies in the Federal Capital Territory have reassured that there is no cause for worry by residents, as necessary measures have always been in place to guarantee security of lives and property. This is in the aftermath of the news which made the rounds last week purporting imminent siege of the nation's capital by alleged terrorists. Onotu Yakubu in this report interacts with security agencies.
It all started from a leaked internal security advisory to members of staff by foreign missions in the country. Thereafter, harbingers of fake news took over to ply their trade in stock with stories of terrorists being arrested in possession of explosives and arms. Some business premises in the territory also joined in the frenzy atmosphere. But security agencies has reiterated the commitment of formations in the territory working in synergy to ensure the safety of all.
Our commandant addressing us and assigning responsibilities immediately and effectively. He charged the head of operation, he charged DO Amak, he charged the head of intelligence unit to act promptly in response to the intelligence that was gathered, and also to ensure that security is enhanced in the FCT.
We are telling the members of the public to be calm. We assure them for protection. By God's grace, the security measures we in place into it will avoid anything that might have come. But we assure them all this is not fake news. It's just fake news. They are just fabricating news to instill fear into the mind of the public.
According to Deputy Commissioner of Police Operations, FCT Command, Nuruddin Sabo, combat radio operatives have been deployed on standby, in addition to the activation of relevant covert and overt patrols to strengthen intelligence across strategic locations. However, much worrisome is the significant role of fake news in sections of the media, which further drove a stronger wedge on the situation to create panic in the mind of residents.
It really affected us because a lot of residents were panicking here and there. Even people from outside FCT were calling in and being concerned about their families, members who are living in FCT. It was really challenging, but we thank God everything is getting calm, and we are urging members of the public to desist from this once again, listening to fake news that does not come out from the right authority. Please disregard it.
The agencies allays the fear of residents and admonish them to go about their lawful businesses, as all hands are on deck to check any threats in the territory. Onotu Yakubu, NTA News.
50 underage teenagers held in 2 hostels for prostitution have been rescued in Port Harcourt. They were rescued in a joint operation by the National Agency Against Trafficking in Persons, the Nigerian Navy ship NNS Pathfinder, and NCDC. Kingsley Amajiri reports.
The rescue operation by NATIP, Nigerian Navy, and NSCDC operatives followed a tip-off from concerned residents. The victims were rescued from 2 hotels in Port Harcourt and the suspects arrested.
I will call them children or juveniles that are, some of them sadly are 14 years old, between the ages of 15, 16, 14, like that. So when they brought intelligence and they shared with us in conjunction with NSCDC, a team was set up and we went into action, and interestingly, you can see for yourselves the number of people that were brought out of the hotel.
NATIP says it would rehabilitate underage teenagers and ensure that those involved in the illegal human trafficking are prosecuted after investigation is concluded.
NATIP being the focal agency that has a mandate to fight all forms of human trafficking and sexual exploitation, is going to take it up from there. Before now, we've been conducting our investigation that led to this arrest. So for the victims of trafficking, we are going to take them in and keep them safe for counseling and further rehabilitation.
The agency, however, called on parents and guardians to take proper care of their children and do proper investigation before giving out their children to people they do not know. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has declared wanted Lagos socialite and owner of Adekaz Hotels, Ademola Afolabi Kazim, over exportation, trafficking of illicit drugs and money laundering. This followed failure to honor NDLEA's invitation in a matter that implicates him as a drug trafficker. Subsequently, the agency has sealed 7 of the suspects' mansions in Lagos, Ibadan, and froze 217 million naira in his bank account. Meanwhile, 2 suspects have been arrested at the Abuja and Port Harcourt international airports for smuggling cocaine into the country. And Kogi State Command of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has intercepted a bus with hard drugs, including meth, cocaine and heroin along Okene-Abuja Expressway. Correspondent Solomon Ayedeyin reports that the agency also discovered and destroyed 5 hectares of cannabis sativa farm in the state.
According to the commander, NDLEA, Kogi State Command, Abdullahi Fakei, the bus with the hard drugs, which include 32.9 kilograms of meth, 376 grams of cocaine, and 215 grams of heroin concealed in yam tubers, was heading to Abuja from Lagos.
It will surprise you if you see the mode of concealment. It just looked like yam tubers, and we had other drugs apart from the meth, amphetamine, which is locally called ice. We also, in the same mode of concealment, again, there were some small ones like that looks like, we don't know whether that will be coconut or what they want to call it, apart from the yam tubers. That was also heroin, cocaine. The suspect is in custody and will soon stand trial.
In another breakthrough, the agency, through intelligence gathering and assistance from other security agencies, including Exercise Enduring Peace, discovered a 5-hectare cannabis sativa plantation located at Iyaya Camp, Agbonkete community in the Galamela Odolu local government area of Kogi State. The agency destroyed the farm.
Augustine Ebenyu was arrested, the purported chairman of the cannabis sativa cultivators chairman, or so to say. That is what they call him. He was arrested.
The agency hopes that as it continues to strategize to stop the activities of drug dealers, the public will support them with useful information that will lead them in the right direction. In Lokoja, Solomon Ayedeyin, NTA News.
Away from security matters, the restoration of peace and post-insurgency recovery initiatives of the Northeast by the federal government under the ruling All Progressives Congress APC goes a long way to suggest to the electorates in the region reasons they should galvanize more support for the party's presidential candidates Bola Ahmed Tinubu in next year's general elections. To this end, a group of youth under the auspices of the Northeast Movement for Tinubu and Kashim 2023 projects has staged a rally in Damaturu, the Yobe state capital, as part of campaign strategies ahead of the 25th February 2023 presidential polls. Abubakar Shuaibu completes the reports.
The group of youth under the aegis of the Movement for Tinubu and Shatima 2023 project is seeking support of people from the region to vote for APC at the 2023 general elections. The national coordinator of the movement, Lawan Malam Musti, and other critical stakeholders are of the view that Tinubu and Shatima, if given the mandate, will stimulate socio-economic growth and sustain relative peace restored in the region by APC-led governments.
Shatima and his master, Aswaj Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to see that we have delivered and we got 6 million votes for him in Northeast and win the election come 2023.
6 states coordinators from the region were inaugurated and presented with campaign vehicles by the national coordinator to work towards success of the party in the next year's general elections. In Damaturu, Abubakar Shuaibu, NTA.
The National Population Commission, NPC, is evolving strategies to rewrite the history of census in Nigeria through accurate, reliable and purposeful data in the drive towards sustainable growth. This was the thrust of the Niger State workshop on compendium of localities held in Minna ahead of the 2023 National Population and Housing Census. Fatima Usman reports.
compendium of localities seeks to give concise and detailed information about a particular area, which often serves as a veritable tool for consensus data determination for national planning and development. The workshop on State Compendium of Localities for the 2023 Population and Housing Census was therefore put together to present a complete list of the areas at the grassroots. The data on enumeration area demarcation exercise, earlier collated in all the localities as a distinct population cluster, are expected to be compiled into a national compendium with requisite parameters that include area, name, type, and classification.
We are looking at our instruments, especially the internet aspect, like recruitment now. We are about to recruit people for the ad hoc work, and we have perfected the recruitment process, and we are ready. About 2 million Nigerians will be recruited for the ad hoc.
The overview, which will be presented to President Muhammadu Buhari before the 2023 headcount, is expected to be approved with the consensus of people of vested interest as its gazetteers. In Mina, I am Fatima Usman, NTA News.
Similarly, the National Population Commission, NPC, has presented a copy of the compendium of localities to each of the chairmen of the 20 local government areas of Ogun State for claims and objections ahead of its final compilation process to avoid errors. NPC Federal Commissioner in Ogun State, Seyi Aderinoku, conducted a presentation at a compendium of localities workshop in Abeokuta, Ogun State. Yemi Dalemo reports.
Addressing participants at the workshop, who include chairmen of the 20 local government areas in Ogun State, community leaders, NPC Federal Commissioner in the state, Seyi Aderinoku, said the essence of the workshop is to present soft copy of the locality list as captured during the enumeration area demarcation to chairmen of the 20 local government areas of the state and other stakeholders for approval.
Preparations for the 2023 Population and Housing Census are on course, and the Commission is confident that the prospect for an accurate and reliable census appears brighter than ever.
Stakeholders at the workshop commended the efforts of the Commission to correct past errors in order to have a successful national population and housing census in 2023.
We'll go through it one by one, check that our localities are complete.
We should commit ourselves to ensuring that the 2023 census is done very smoothly.
They don't need to travel to their hometown to do the census, because this time around, everybody counts.
It is expected that the compendium of localities will be presented to President Muhammadu Buhari before the commencement of the 2023 census. In Abeokuta, Yemi Dalemo, NTA News.
Time now to join Fatima in Makurdi for trending stories from there. Okay, we'll join Fatima in the course of the bulletin, hopefully. But moving on, Fulani Social-Cultural Group, Miyetti Allah, has appealed to the federal government to establish Federal Ministry of Nomadic Affairs with a mandate to broaden educational opportunities and address pastoralist challenges. Addressing the media at the end of its expanded national executive meeting, the group also called for the immediate designation, gazetting and development of all the 415 grazing reserves across the states of the Federation as the only first strategic step in addressing the challenges confronting Fulani herders in Nigeria.
Bring the facts together and we shall see.
The meeting charged the Political Awareness Committee Directorate to embark on massive enlightenment campaign and voter education among the pastoralists to massively participate in the forthcoming 2023 general elections.
It lamented the continuous profiling of Fulani pastoralists and action of some state governors who, under the guise of anti-open grazing law, confiscate and auction their livestock. Determined to end the scourge of statelessness by 2024, key players in migration issues have converged on Abuja to review the standard operating procedures on statelessness status determination for Nigeria. Elizabeth Omori reports that the meeting by the National Commission for Refugees and Internally Displaced Persons centered on domestication of the Statelessness Convention citizenship status, rights, protection and registration of stateless persons.
Registration. So we have a composition of mixed movement, around our migration dynamics, and with a lot of people at the risk of becoming stateless. So this national action plan and the review of this SOP would help us in addressing those issues for people at the risk of becoming stateless.
There are deliberations that look into existing government processes that would look into identification of any stateless persons in Nigeria, be they having resident in Nigeria for a long time, possibly they are long-term migrants, possibly they are persons who have been born in Nigeria, they know Nigeria is their country, but they have no documentation to be able to prove and justify their nationality as Nigerians. So the processes of identification and referral to the relevant agency that would take the right action to ensure these persons' rights are protected.
The stakeholders are expected to come up with an adoptable communique at the end of the meeting. We now pause to take more messages, more reports when we return. Just stay. You're welcome back. Now the future of the girl child to explore her full potentials in the proper direction of parents and the society in general is contained in an inspirational book published and unveiled by Nigerians for Nigerians by the National Center for Women Development in commemoration of the 2022 International Day of the Girl Child. Ngozi Tekniku reports.
In line with the theme of this year's International Day of the Girl Child, which is Our Time is Now, Our Rights, Our Future, coincides with the title of the book, Growing Rights, aimed at appealing to the intellectual capacity of the girl child and children in general through inspiration to pursue their dreams. Unveiling the book on behalf of the Director General of the National Center for Women Development, the Director of Planning, Research and Statistics harps on the need to pay serious attention to the girl child.
To the girl child is if you stick to their education. There is nothing like education. When they seek their education, they don't follow bad friends, and they're able to listen to their parents. They will be able to fly higher beyond where their child are today.
With heightened vigor, some of the girls are determined not to give up in achieving their aspirations.
My determination is to change my world using my gender, potential, and educational knowledge.
Then I have learned a lot, and then despite knowing that women are very important in the society, our mind and then our mindset has to change.
The 70-page book with 10 chapters were given to each of the children, among other gift items. Ngozi Tekniku, NTA News.
Now, perennial flooding has wreaked devastating havoc to riverine communities, with hydropower producing areas development commission zones as worst hits, and this is now challenging management of Hyperdeck to equip media units of the commission for accurate data analysis and reportage. Abubakar Akwanga reports.
Flooding has remained a famous language in the media in recent times, owing to its damaging impact on the environment. And to avert future consequences of the disaster, the Hydropower Producing Areas Development Commission is preparing ahead.
Most times, when you have a flooding, the land becomes more fertile, and that they will be able to produce more than they are used to. So we are going to give the farmers the necessary support they require to produce more agricultural products year-round, whereas they do only 2 times a year, 1 time a year. We can even encourage them to do more than that.
Latest attention is on the media unit of the Commission to accurately source data for planning and analysis of its programs through deployment of digital infrastructure.
what is most important is this flooding has brought to notice to members of the general public the dire environmental challenges facing the riverine communities, especially the hyperdeck zone, and that the need to do something to alleviate such challenges.
The Commission says budgetary allocation and execution of projects have been fair to affected communities with priorities on prevention and control measures. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
Next is sports updates.